as always, the action was incredible. It was amazing. But they took it to another level again somehow. It was another unseen level of epicness, of dynamic action. What's up, people? Today we are going to be talking about 3 amazing comics, all part of Spider-Man Miles Morales, written by Cody Ziglar. This is the Retribution storyline. This takes place in Spider-Man Miles Morales, Cody Ziglar's run of issue number 1718 / issue 300 and issue 19. It is a really exciting story that kind of brings it all together since the start of Cody Ziglar's run. But I'm gonna stop you right there, because if you haven't seen my videos reacting to all of Cody Ziglar's Spider-Man Miles Morales comics, you can click right up there in the top left-hand corner to watch the whole playlist. You will see a full reaction of the full year that was 2023 for Miles Morales, and that includes, like I said, Cody Ziglar's run, Carnage Reigns, the Gang Wars, and so much more. It's all there for you, so make sure you watch that before you watch this video. Otherwise, you might be a little bit lost, but don't worry, there's lots of good content in there for you too, and this video will still be up by the time you're all done and finished with that. And of course, while we're here, before we start, I just want to say it'd be great if you could possibly subscribe to this channel for more content just like this. And if you have been missing out on these Miles Morales videos, well, I think it only makes sense you should subscribe, because this is the place to be when it comes to our favorite Spider-Man. And of course, if you like these videos, drop a quick like. That really helps me out. It helps you out. It tells YouTube what exactly you want in terms of videos and content that you want. And if you want to get into the conversation, please do so. Lots of the subscribers here have already done so, and I hope they will continue to. So if you have anything to say on the videos, or me, or Miles Morales, or anything else that you might want to talk to, superhero or comic book related, please feel free, because I would love to chat. But without further ado, let's get into Cody Ziglar's Spider-Man Miles Morales and the storyline Retribution. This takes place in the aftermath of Gang War and Giant-Sized Spider-Man, where Miles and Misty found that Rabble was supplying weapons to Brooklyn's villains. After the Gang War, Rabble is now full speed ahead on her mission to ruin Miles. She's broken into a Roxxon building, and her machines are still not able to talk to her like before. Roxxon security catches her and begins to lock the place down. Rabble has nothing but revenge on her mind and slaughters them before leaving with what she needs. Spider-Man, Ms. Marvel, and Shift are dealing with a new villain, Zip Zephyr, but with the 3 of them, they save the day with ease. Ms. Marvel is taking the downtime to teach Shift more about his shape-shifting abilities, but Miles is running late to a therapy session, so he leaves them to it. With the Powers Act done and Mayor Fisk out, Agent Gao's life is about to change. Mayor Cage has brought her to his office to inform her that her Cape Killers program will be dissolved. Gao tries to debate with him the importance of her task force in stopping dangerous vigilantes and criminals. But for Cage, he knows it's too dangerous for her to have this kind of power. Gao may have good intentions, but her judgment is being clouded by her hatred of vigilantes and villains, which is why he is transferring her to Vice. Swinging through the streets of Brooklyn, Miles tells Dr. Kwan about all the progress he's made with all of her help. He's been healing, but his PTSD when Rabble comes around is still affecting him. At the end of the day, Miles has even more than just the safety of himself and his loved ones on the line with Rabble. He also still wants to help her so badly, but he also knows the danger she poses. Kwan's advice is to try and be proactive and get ahead of things if he can. The next time she's around him, remain present. Accept what's happening so he can settle into the uncomfortable until it becomes stable. So Miles gathers everyone to help: Misty Knight, Ms. Marvel, Shift, and Starling to Misty's base. He's devised a plan to find Rabble, stop her from completing her next move and causing destruction, and of course, save her from herself. Their lead is to locate her through the weapons tech she's been supplying to the baddies around Brooklyn. The plan being, when they find her, to not fight with her, but talk with her, which Starling right away is not okay with. But Misty is impressed with her apprentice and knows where to start: the bar with no name. Agent Gao is on a search for her next move after getting info out of Scorpion to find out the only person who wants to take out Spider-Man more than her. Now, there is a lot happening here in issue 18, but we also have to remember that this is the big mega issue, issue 300, and there is a lot of comic book artists involved in this one, so you're going to get to enjoy a bunch of different styles, different looks of all the characters involved in this story.
Miles, Kamala, and Shift are chasing none other than Bumbler to track down Rabble. But they're not the only ones in pursuit, because Rabble's drones are also hunting him down for some reason. They save Bumbler from a lethal part of the explosion, but then he sneaks away. The three of them tail him to exactly the place they've been looking for, the bar with no name. Miles goes in by himself, knowing that while the bar is filled with villains, they have a strict rule against fighting. But as he goes in trying to get information, he finds out a very crucial rule of being in a bar, and that is his ass is way too young to be in there. Unfortunately, Miss Marvel and Shift aren't down to change their appearance to get in either, so Miles recruits some adult help. Rabble, though, doesn't feel the need for an adult helping her out again. But the two of them find some common ground. Their next move is then to get Gao's Cape Killers back before her reassignment is official. Meanwhile, Prowler pulls up on the bar with no name looking for sources and finds Scorpion hanging around. But it's actually Scorpion who's found out some crucial info. Back in issue 16, he heard Miles call Prowler uncle, but he's not threatening him. He actually likes Miles since he treats him well. Then poor Bumbler pops out from the back as a busser, and Prowler takes him outside for a little chat. Bumbler really doesn't know anything, but Prowler notices his new suit has a part that looks exactly like Rabble's symbol. He sends over the sample to Miles so they can narrow their search.
Coming up here, we have a pretty tough moment here with Reneem going to see her father, and it really reminds us all of not just what she's doing this for, but really the human side of the character.
She's in a lot of pain, not able to recover from the sense of failure of not being able to achieve her dreams and save her family. And now, on top of it all, her closest friends as machines can't communicate with her. Her father is also struggling to communicate with her though, not able to remember her at first as he suffers from Alzheimer's. She tells him about all her struggles, how she's so upset that she can fix machines but not him. He loses track of where he is and she kisses him on the cheek before she leaves. Gao has one last job for the Cape Killers, but this one is a get out of jail free card. All their sentences gone. She gives them inhibitor collars that have been fixed by Rabble to actually enhance them, and so they accept their last mission. Miles finds the AIM lab Rabble was using and sneaks inside. However, he still wasn't proactive enough, and Gao and the Cape Killers were waiting for him. Miles notices their suits right away and starts to panic a little bit, knowing that Rabble can't be far off. For the moment, it looks like even Miles is going to be in for a fight. Gao's goal isn't just to take out Spider-Man, because after she does, Rabble is going to give her info about a bunch of criminals to prove her worth to Mayor Cage. But unfortunately for the Cape Killers, he was pulling his punches. Miles starts surging with electricity, almost like his own version of Super Saiyan. Gao also has tricks up her sleeves. She starts controlling the Cape Killer suits to attack Miles, drawing even more power from their bodies. Scorpion is trying his best to regain control of his body, but he can barely slow Gao down. Thankfully, Miles is not alone in this fight. Rhino runs through the walls with Prowler, Starling, Shift, and Miss Marvel to get the numbers advantage for once. And even more surprise is now that Shift can talk. But there's no time to celebrate this amazing moment because the fight is on. Gao and the Cape Killers are getting destroyed, and that is when Rabble takes things into her own hands. She tells Spider-Man to follow the drone that she sent into the building for a final showdown, and she wasn't asking nicely. All 5 of the Cape Killers' minds are taken over by Rabble as she threatens their lives if Miles doesn't follow her orders. Taking even more out of them to make their powers extremely deadly to everyone in the lab, Miles can't save them here, so he's forced to do what Rabble says. The plan of talking to Reneem is out of the window. She has absolutely lost all sense of morality, and now he has to use everything he's learned since their first encounter. Just like she planned it, Miles is very drained from fighting off the Cape Killers alone. This fight turns into some insanely dynamic action panels. Miles finds the opening though, remembering it's not just him that's lost a part of his senses since their first fight. He diverts her attention so she can't communicate to her machines and focus on fighting him. Now that she's starting to lose this fight, she focuses on hurting Miles in a different way. Shift takes a lethal blast from Scorpion and goes down. She wants Miles to fight on her level. Rabble's made herself too hard to subdue, but tells him he can easily end this all because the weak spot of her suit is designed right in the middle of her chest. Rabble copies Miles and cloaks herself to add another element, but Miles still has the upper hand and counters even without seeing her. While she can't physically keep up with Miles, Rabble's last shot to Shift may have cost him his life. Starling calls him and tells Miles that Shift isn't moving or breathing. It's Rabble versus Miles. Both are done playing and all cards are on the table. With too many lives on the line, Miles gives Rabble everything he has. He quickly dices up some of her drones and is about to give her a full dose of his Venom Blast. But stunningly, Rabble has done what no one else has ever been able to do before. She catches Miles' fist, sucks all the charge out of it, and gives it right back to him, shattering his elbow. Now, for the first time, Miles is physically broken, and Rabble can smell the blood in the water. While Miles fights for his own life, everyone else's is on the line with Rabble's suits so overcharged, every blast and shot from the Cape Killers could mean death. And as Starling flies for her life, Scorpion gains just enough control in time to hit Gao and spare Starling. After she snatches Miles' energy, the power in the fight is heavily tilted to Rabble, and she starts playing with her food. As always though, Rabble has more tricks up her sleeve and lights up the room and blinds Miles as each panel turns into a manga-esque black and gray. Blinded by the light, barely held together with his shattered bones and suffocated by debris filling his lungs, Miles is fighting purely off instinct while Rabble is only inhibited by her own rage. Now he has to put all he's learned in the last few months to the test, where failure is no option. Putting his arm in a sling and focusing on his breath, he finds his one shot to end this. The two charge at each other. Miles finds an inhibitor collar and webs it onto Rabble, stopping her dead in her tracks. She can't hear the machines at all anymore. She's lost everything. Miles knocks her out as he bleeds from his arm and limps to help the others. But with Rabble knocked out, the inhibitor collars shut down and free the Cape Killers from her murderous grasp. Shift gets back to his feet slowly with the help of Miss Marvel. Miles reunites with Misty, Starlight, and the rest of the heroes, and EMTs take the Cape Killers away to fix them up, although Gao did manage to slip away. Mayor Cage, Miles, and Misty watch as Rabble is taken away, but Mayor Cage ensures Miles that funds from the Powers Act are being moved to education to help the rehab of people like her. Shift freaks out at the mention of labs and throws his EMT, so Miles goes over to calm down his brother and take him to a nurse he knows he can trust. He introduces his clone brother to the family, and that is where our story ends.
Well, what else is there to say? I mean, that was pretty much a perfect story. I don't know what else there is to say about it other than that, but it really is the culmination of work from Cody Ziglar. Look, we don't really know how much longer Ziglar's going to do this in terms of this run specifically. I think, we can assume that he's probably going to take on different Miles Morales projects as he's with Marvel, but at some point his run will end. But what I can say right here, right now, if this is maybe the tail end of his run with Miles, this is kind of perfect. I mean, this is incredible for so many different reasons, and I want to explain all of that to you. As always, the action was incredible. It was amazing, but they took it to another level again somehow. It was another unseen level of epicness, of dynamic action. It just, like, you could feel everything that was going on. It was just so cool. And I think you can tell where Ziglar and Vincentini were drawing their inspiration of, whether it was the dialogue that was happening as Miles was fighting Rabble. And you could also see it obviously in the panels in every single section of this fight itself. I mean, you saw the reference to Tekken, the reference to Jujutsu Kaisen, just the general inspiration of manga, anime, and video games in general that have made this such an incredible run. It's been such a key part of the fact that this action is just so fluid, so real, but yet at the same time so unreal. It just felt like there was always consequences when these fights were happening. It made me excited to see that, because I gotta be honest, I find that comics don't always do action that great. It's usually on a lower level. Occasionally you get those great ones, and honestly, this whole run has been fucking unbelievable. It's just been incredible. And story-wise, writing-wise, what I can say about this is, at this moment in time, this is the definitive Spider-Man run. You know, if you go back to my other videos, which I'll point out to you again, you can find those in the top corner of your screen here. I talked about the issues that Miles Morales had, the things that had to change in my opinion, the things that had stalled for so long, the things that, you know, things that were just kind of annoying, whether it was the fact that he's just so overpowered and it feels like he just, you know, kind of stumbles into his Venom punch again, remembering that he can use it, or his camouflage or something. And Cody Ziglar addressed that specifically with, you know, Misty Knight and, you know, him, when he uses those punches, those incredibly powerful things, he gets drained, and that villains were starting to be able to figure that out. He wasn't able to just punch his way out of things anymore. He had to be tactical, he had to learn new skills, and I thought seeing that whole process throughout his time was just incredible to watch. You were really watching a character grow in real time, it felt like. And then when you look at this issue and the fight between him and Rabble, you could see that like he was having to adapt on the fly. There was more things that Rabble was throwing at him over and over and over again, and he kept coming up and rising to the task and beating her eventually when his back was fully against the wall, when he was physically broken, something that had never happened to him before. And I'll remind you guys again that I had issues with that Venom saber at first, but honestly, it didn't grow on me per se as so much. It started to feel earned. It started to make sense to me why Cody Ziglar was adding this power and stuff. And it just feels really cool. It doesn't feel cheesy or like, you know, cheap or anything in any way, shape, or form. It feels like, you know, I probably got it wrong. I'll admit that. I think I got it wrong in general in when we first saw it in issue 4 or 5, I think it was. But I think what's more amazing is the general story that he lined out for us. Miles has been through a lot of things, and I think I had mentioned that actually in one of my videos before this all started, but he's just been through a lot of stuff to this point. And then you add what Raneem did, and you could see like real life mental health issues coming up in Miles. He had real PTSD that he had to deal with. I think that was the biggest thing, is that Miles feels like a real person now, dealing with real things like we all do. And he faced all his adversity in a really human way. All in all though, what Cody Ziglar's really done here, the biggest thing is that he has given a true characterization to the comic version of Miles Morales. And yes, he's definitely been using, I'm sure, some examples from the movies and the games to kind of flesh that out, but it definitely feels like his Miles Morales. It feels specific to him. These 19 issues have been the best we've ever gotten out of this character. And I say that with all due respect to Saladin Ahmed, because I really like Saladin Ahmed's run. He did a lot of great things for Miles, but Cody Ziglar, man, Cody Ziglar really understood what he wanted to do. He saw the weaknesses in the storytelling so far, the weaknesses in the character, and he just took it all and ran with it, and he's made such a big difference in my opinion. And look, I know I'm talking like he's finished, and he's not finished. He still has more comics to write, but he is taking on other projects. Cody Ziglar will not be writing this run forever, and someone else will come in and hopefully they can do it justice. But right now I just want to say thank you to both Cody Ziglar and Federico Vincentini, because you guys have done a lot of fulfillment for me. Like I said, I really didn't think we would get here. I really thought this would be a character that is so unfulfilled, and I'd just be clinging to the nostalgia of it and the fact that we both kind of started the journey at the same time, like I've been saying, but we got here, and it's just awesome to see a great story. I don't know if anybody will be able to live up to that. I'm gonna try to, you know, temper my expectations, and maybe you guys can too, but I want to give them their flowers now, because what they've done is gonna stand the test of time. It's history now. If I want to recommend somebody a run to start on, it's gonna be this one, because I know this can apply to so many people, and especially if you like a character that's getting so popular like Miles, this is the book for new readers to read. But that is all for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to drop a like if you like this video, subscribe if you want more videos just like this and different ones, and if you want to start a little bit of discourse, drop a comment below. I'd love to chat, and until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.